Hi, and welcome to the Ask Dr. Angela podcast with everyone's favorite OBGYN, Dr. Angela Jones. Have you ever been too embarrassed or shy to ask your own doctor about your, girl parts? Well, you've come to the right place to get straight answers. Feel free to ask Dr. Angela anything women's health related. Obstetrics and gynecology? She keeps it real. Pregnancy? She's been there, done that. Menopause? She'll get you through. Young or old, Dr. Angela's got you covered, girl. Now here's Dr. Angela.
What's good, people? This is Dr. Angela, everyone's favorite OBGYN, and I would like to officially welcome you to episode 291 of the Ask Dr. Angela podcast. So it's March. We're going to spring forward this month. Spring comes this month. I'm honestly wondering, could it really be true that we are going to get out of winter without a major snowfall in New Jersey? I got to tell you, I would not be too disappointed if that happened. I'm a Midwesterner, i.e. from Ohio, and I've seen my fair share of snow, and I'm not missing it. Let me just say that again. I am not missing it. As we speak, it's supposed to be snowing in Jersey right now, but it's more rain than anything. And so I'm hoping that this is the only parts of that storm that we're going to see. So anyway, March is Endometriosis Awareness Month. And I've done a lot of podcasts on endometriosis, but it's one of those things that a lot of people have and just don't know about it. Like, I think I read somewhere 1 in 10 women have endometriosis. 176 million women worldwide are affected by endometriosis. I mean, that's a flipping lot. And what are the signs and symptoms of endometriosis? The pathognomic or hallmark symptom that women will say to me is, Dr. Angela, I have cyclical painful periods. I'm going to say that again. Cyclical painful periods. Every time I get a period, it hurts. And I think that really one of the reasons that endometriosis is underdiagnosed is that women think that this is supposed to be normal. They think that painful periods is normal. It's not. Periods that are debilitating, that prevent you from going to work, school, hanging out with your girls, that is not normal. Periods that are not responding to conservative measures like non-steroidal medications like ibuprofen, Aleve, Motrin, you know what we have, Pamprin. If your cramps aren't controlled by those things, it would raise my eyebrows a little bit. Heating pads, you know what we do, exercise, all the things that usually help periods. Endometriosis can present in any number of ways. I just mentioned cyclical painful periods. You might have pain with bowel movements, pain when you pee, pain with sex, and you thought that it was supposed to hurt. No. You might have heavy periods, irregular bleeding, spotting in between. You might have issues getting pregnant. And you wondered why after all these years you haven't been able to have a baby. It might be because you have endometriosis and the implants have scarred your tubes. It could be anything. I guess really the take-home message here is don't suffer. If any of the above applies to you, it's worth mentioning it to your OBGYN. I think that this is really, again, one of the major reasons that it's highly undiagnosed and that it can take up to 7.5 years on average for folks to get the diagnosis of endometriosis because, again, we think these things are normal. They're not. And so, Dr. Angela, what happens when you do diagnose me with endometriosis? Well, first of all, if I have a high clinical suspicion just based on the careful history that I've taken and, the nonsteroidals are not working for you, i.e. the Motrin, the ibuprofen, the Aleve, if those things are not working, usually first line of treatment is something hormonal. Most OBGYNs will start with a low-dose birth control pill. If that doesn't help, you can increase the strength of your birth control pill. If that doesn't help, you can try other forms of hormonal therapy, whether it's Depo-Provera, Depo-Lupron, which basically gives you medical menopause. That's no fun, and it's not something that we leave people on for an extended period of time. But for me, usually if a low-dose birth control pill isn't helping stave off your symptoms, I might take you to the OR to see what's going on. Usually a low-dose birth control pill or some sort of hormonal suppression will help. But if that doesn't do the trick, then I will take you to the OR. I don't necessarily have to take you to the OR to diagnose endometriosis. A lot of times I diagnose it, again, based on your symptoms. And sometimes an ultrasound, not all the time, I'm going to say that again, sometimes an ultrasound will have a characteristic finding like an endometrioma, which is a special kind of cyst that we oftentimes will see with endometriosis. However, having said that, you can have an entirely normal ultrasound and still have endometriosis. But anyway, the endometriomas are also known as chocolate cysts. I actually just the other day removed one. I had a patient that presented with a 7-centimeter cyst, and lo and behold, guess what she had? Cyclical painful periods. I got in there. She had endometrial implants all over the place. We were able to incise the ovary, remove the cyst from inside the ovary, and her pelvis looked beautiful. We were able to excise endometrial implants. We ablated them, and hopefully she will feel better post-surgery. But this is going to be someone that we will put on some sort of hormonal suppression. So Dr. Angela, what is endometriosis? Endometriosis basically is when the lining of your uterus, which is called the endometrium, instead of being shed from your uterus through your cervix and out your vagina every month as your period, what happens is that these implants get shot out through your tubes and will implant on various aspects of your pelvis. It can implant on the fallopian tubes, the ovaries, and the cul-de-sac or various parts of the pelvis, your bowels, intestines, liver. Endometriosis can implant everywhere. And endometriosis is hormonally responsive, which means that every month, it responds to the hormones released by your ovaries, and it can, cause the implants to grow, to thrive, to spread. And that's why you get those cyclical, painful periods. So when we put you on hormonal suppression, what it does is, number one, it shortens your periods, whether it's in length or even in occurrence. Sometimes people are on continuous contraception so that they only get, say, maybe 4 periods a year. But, endometriosis is no fun. And certainly definitive treatment of endometriosis is hysterectomy, which usually involves removing the ovaries as well. But sometimes in patients that are really young, we are really careful and, take a lot of things into consideration before removing someone's ovaries, because that certainly could put someone into a surgical menopause, and without those ovaries, you get the hot flashes, night sweats, the architecture of the vagina changes, it becomes dry, sex can become more painful, a whole lot of things. So endometriosis, not fun, but treatable. So if you have any of the things that I talked about in today's podcast, please reach out to your OBGYN. There are things that we can do to manage it, stave off the symptoms, and give you a better quality of life. Having said that, I'm a huge advocate for lifestyle. And by that, I mean healthy eating and activity, i.e. exercise. That makes everything better. Preventative medicine, like lifestyle modification, is really the best medicine. So thank you so much for tuning into today's podcast. It's always such a pleasure, communicating with you all. I'm blown away by the reach of this podcast. I'm getting direct messages, emails every day from all over the world. So if you have a topic that you want discussed on the podcast, you know how to reach me, www.askdrangela.com. That's AskDrangela.com. That's my website. You have access to all my social media outlets, i.e. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can direct message me. You can email me from there. I got to mention, in a little more than a month, my pregnancy book is going to be released. We got April 9th on the calendar. I cannot wait to get your feedback. We're going to do some kind of giveaway so that I can get this book into your hands. I would love, love, love your feedback. So in closing, I'm going to leave you with this. Lesson 176 out of Life's Little Instruction Book. Read carefully anything that requires your signature. Remember, the big print give it, and the small print take it away. Until next time, look better, feel better, be better. I cannot wait to reconnect on episode 292 of the Ask Dr. Angela podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Ask Dr. Angela podcast. For more information on women's health and the show notes for this episode, please visit Dr. Angela at www.askdrangela.com. While you're there, don't forget to leave your own message for Dr. Angela. See you soon! All of the information provided and discussed in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and should not take the place of consulting a physician. This podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease or illness and does not and should not replace treatment from a medical professional.